Today on the show, we're going to talk about the consequences of not listening and the problems that free will can cause. Some of the guidelines I'm going to pinpoint is a broken mind, a broken soul, a broken body, and a broken life. And not only not listening, it can also lead to miserable hate, lies, cheating, and thievery. And it can also hurt the ones that you love. And part of the situation and part of the problem that I would say is a misled education, having sex without a purpose, which creates broken households, which creates stepmothers and stepfathers and stepchildren. In turn, can also create prison dads and working mothers. So today we're just going to highlight whatever comes to us because we're going to follow this energy today. And today will be April the 30th, 2021 on the calendar year. And we're just going to follow the energy, frequency, and vibration. Today I have a special guest speaker, the Glass Rock. Introduce yourself, Glass Rock.
Hi, everyone. Good day, good day. My name is Shatoya, and I'm happy to be here with the Lord on his show today.
And this is the first podcast that we're going to be discussing the consequences of not listening and the problem that can lead to free will. So let's start it. Let's start by it. So we first enter this world and we're surrounded by people, surrounded by objects, surrounded by things, and we really don't really know what's going on because we're born to a people, and the people pass their information to us. We're not going to necessarily say the color is what we're born to. We're going to say the information is what we're born into. So what happened is that we're born into this world of information, and in these times now, a lot of us was born into broken households with misled education, and a lot of us are sex babies, meaning our parents wasn't necessarily wanting to be a family more so than they wanted to have a good time with us. And we thank them because we're glad to be here. But today on the podcast, we're going to talk about one of the things we're going to talk about is the effects of misled education. And I'm going to speak on this note right here. One of the effects on misled education is that they open up your brain and they open up your mind, and then they feed your brain and your mind with information. We're not going to say it's good information. We're not going to say it's bad information. We're going to say that they fill you up with information. Now, if some of that information that they fill you up, if it comes out that the information isn't true, then you may or you can have a problem later on down the line. Meaning is if someone filled your brain up with misled information, then someone comes with the truth, then it'll be hard for you to accept the truth because the misled information will come to be your truth. So that's one of the things that the misled education can lead to. And
So I think about misled education. You was right, Lord. That is true. It can lead to situations later down in life. Speaking from my personal experience, I would like to say about misled education. I went to a public school and I was fed some information that I necessarily did not need. So by the time it was time for me to actually grow and have the information that I was supposed to have pertaining to life, I didn't have it because I was filled up with information that I did not need at that point in time in my life.
Okay, very well spoken. Now, the next topic that we're going to bring up is the sex babies. The babies that you have that's not necessarily connected to a family, but the babies that you have because you're able to reproduce. Now, speaking for myself personally, I come from a mother that has 4 children and 4 different baby daddies. And I also come from a father or a dad that has 7 children and 4 different baby mothers, or you can say 6 children and 3 different baby mothers. And I can tell you what happened with the sex babies is everything is just different. I mean, one dad might take better care than the other dad. One child might get a better Christmas than the other ones. It's just a lot of differences. One family might come pick up the kid and leave the rest because they have different dads, different grandmas. And I can pretty much tell you what it leads up to is no unity, different ways, competition, fights, anger, mistrust, and quite frankly, the curse continues. And that's my take on sex babies.
That was well said, Lord. That would sound like a really big family. My take on sex babies is that it does lead to children having issues with their life because they don't have a stable family, they don't have a stable mom, a stable dad, they don't have a stable foundation. So, sex babies does cause a lot of degenerate children, as you could say, to where they don't really have much to look forward to because they wasn't really built on much. So, sex babies do lead to misled education children as well, because if they mothers don't know much and they turn around and just had a baby just by having fun, it does lead to more problems in life.
Okay. Well, the next topic that I will bring up will be the broken households, which leads to stepdad, stepmother, and stepchildren. Now, it's from my personal experience, that's all I experienced was broken households and stepmother and stepdad and brothers and sisters. Because like I told you earlier, my parents didn't have a full set of bloodlines, so that basically you do what you can and you collect the information. Basically, I don't know. I don't really have too much to say about that.
I do. As far as step parents, households, the kids, the moms, the dads, I would say that it's okay, but it's not necessarily going to work. Step parents are okay. You got some step parents that do good, but it also make the child feel that they're not welcome because they wouldn't feel as much as connected to the step parent. It'll feel different. And with the kids, they'll play, they'll love each other. And from my personal experience, my stepsister, she kind of did some mean stuff. And then as far as that, a child might have a dad and then one might not have a mom. So that was mine growing up. My stepsister didn't have a dad, so she had a stepdad, and I didn't have a mom, and I had a stepmom. So it kind of fit, but at the same time, it didn't fit because it wasn't all biological.
Okay, now part of the podcast. This is going to be one that affect me personally. Growing up in the world with having your dad in prison. And I can tell you off a personal experience, We need the fathers there. We need the dads in the house. We don't need them. We don't need them in prison. And I'm gonna tell you why. Because it get to a point to where a young man needs to know and to follow the steps of a full man. And the main thing in the main course is this right here. Nobody wins when the dad is in prison, because what happened is that the sons wind up having a lot of excuses, and they wind up learning the wrong way. They wind up becoming misled, and they wind up trying to find their manhood through destruction. But at the end of the day, they're all loving and they just want love, but they did not have that masculine dominant energy to show them how to control themselves. So at the end of the day, they will be out of control, and they all need love. So they was missing that half of them. So what I would say is this right here: the dads in prison definitely affects the child, and it affects the child in a way of direction, in a way of pride, in a way of identity. So the child has to go find an identity, and wants to go find an identity elsewhere, and tries to find somewhere to fit in. But at the end of the day, them being in prison affects the child. Now the working topic. Now the next topic will be the working mother. I'll let you lead with that one. How does that affect? How does not listening and free will and the working mother, how does that affect the broken household in the family?
The working mother affects the household because she's not there to tend to the household. As a female, it's women's nature to want to take care and be tender with their loved ones. It's their nature to want to be compassionate and nurse, shall I say, nurse a family. So with the mom being at work, she doesn't get a chance to do that. She goes to work and give all the energy that's supposed to be for the family. She gives it to her workers, customers, flipping burgers, whatever her work may be. She uses all her energy for the job. And then when she comes back home, she's too tired. She's dealing with everybody crap at work, and she's not time to nurture her kids. She doesn't have time to put love into the food, so it all breaks down. The kids will be out of whack because their mom is not there to nurture them. The dad will be missing his companion because he needs someone to rub his back. Maybe he needs someone to talk to. It's all a system. So without the female being in her spot lane, being in her area in her life where she's supposed to be, which is the house, everything will not be in balance. It will be a chemical imbalance because the children will think that it's normal for the mom to get up and go. So they'll want to get up and go, and then they'll be thinking that it's okay to leave the house and have someone else raise their children for them, which is not necessarily true. Women are supposed to educate their own children. You're supposed to pass down the information that you know to them and help them advance with their energy, help them do more than what you did. So if you're at work, you cannot do that. You can have Miss Frizzle teaching them about stuff that really doesn't matter. Now, if your child needs to make bread, you have to be at home to teach them that, right? Right. But if you're at work, you're helping someone get their fries with some shakes. A mom at home is very important. It does break down the household if the mom is at work.
Okay. Now the next situation of the consequences of not listening and the problems that free will can cause is the broken mind, the broken soul, the broken body, which leads to the broken life. Now, I like to use this as an example. I like to use it as an example, like eating a plate of food. You have your vegetables and your meat, and you have your dessert. I like to I like to look at listening as eating your vegetables first, taking care of what you need to take care of. I like to use not listening as eating your dessert first. So what happened is whenever you never learn how to listen, that leads to a broken mind because you're not going to be able to listen. A broken soul, so you're not going to be able to listen to fix it. A broken body, you don't know how to heal it, which equals a broken life, which in turn is the reason you have misery for not listening. You have hate because you're not listening. You're in your free will. You want to do whatever you want to do. You lie because you do stuff and you cross over people. And the stuff that you do, you have to lie, which causes you to cheat. And if you lie, then you steal. And if you steal, and then you cheat. And then what happens is it all circles all together and it becomes a big played a big life of a miserable life, and you ask why, and it all started because you never listened because you wanted to eat your dessert first. But like we said, this is the Fresh Fredaruskie show. This is the first podcast in the consequences of not listening in free will.
All right, guys. Thank y'all for listening. I hope y'all got some information that was good for y'all. Come back and catch some more drop on the Fresh Fredaruskie show and go check out the Glass Rock.